How I closed my first deal in real estate. Well, by being relentless. It took me 4 months to close my first deal in real estate. At the time, my company, they had a few different sources where people would, browse the web, and they would click on this, they would click on that. Half the time, they didn't even know they were clicking on a website that would then allow us to capture their information. So I started to go through those lists, and I had to weed through the many, many, many looky-loos and the people who didn't even realize that I was able to capture their information, and also a lot of renters. So I had to go into the office every single day, and I had to open up my prospecting book, which is just a whole bunches of piece of paper, and I had to start calling. I needed to find somebody who was looking to purchase. I needed to find somebody who was looking to sell, and I had to weed through a lot of phone calls. I had to weed through a lot of rejection to find that first one buyer. So I found the buyer, and then I was relentless in following up with them and showing my value, adding into my database, starting an action plan, all the things the experts tell you to do. And finally, probably about 2 months later, they were ready to look at some houses. I showed them 3 houses, and I got them under contract on the 3rd one. I started consistently showing up for myself as a real estate agent October of 2019, and I closed that first deal January of 2020. So how did I really do it? Like I already said, by staying consistent, by coming into the office every single day, by opening up what we call the pond and making phone calls, by weeding through the rejection, by ignoring that doubt monster that just was screaming in my head, can you really do this? And I knew that if I just kept at it, and I knew if I showed up for myself on a consistent basis, something would happen. I just didn't know what that was going to be. My mentor once told me that the most consistent agent will outperform the agent with the most skill. And I didn't really understand and wrap my brain around that until I showed up for myself every day. I was very consistent in my activities, so therefore my skill got better. And therefore I started to outperform agents who had been in the business a lot longer than I have. Was that first deal hard? Was starting that momentum incredibly daunting and frustrating and exhilarating? Absolutely. But what I can tell you now, 2019, so 4 years later, the journey is absolutely worth it. You just have to stay consistent in showing up for yourself.